Hey there everyone. Today we're going to learn to navigate the world's most popular operating system. I hope you'll join. Hey there everyone. Today's subject is going to be navigating Windows. With this, hopefully, we'll make life a lot easier in terms of navigating and controlling a bunch of different things through this amazing tool that that a lot of us have access to. So, to begin this lesson, we're actually going to go ahead and start with what we're currently looking at. Most of you have probably run across a screen looking similar to this in your life, and it's one of the most common interfaces a person will run into, aside from the home screen on their phone. And that's essentially what we're looking at here, the home screen of our computer, what's referred to as the desktop, or the place you come to work. So with the desktop, we essentially can collect files and or links to softwares, files, images, videos, audio, whatever we really want to use our computer for, and store them in a place that's quick and easy to access. And down below at the bottom of our screen, still considered our desktop, but what will actually follow us throughout our computer use is what's known as the taskbar. With the taskbar, we can keep track and manage what programs we currently have open, different windows that are open inside of them, as well as this handy search bar that lets us search our computer for files and things that we want to access. Over here on the right, we actually have some options for drivers and or things for managing the computer, alongside things like audio, our internet connection, time, date, and a little alert center for notifications about things the computer wants to tell us about. But what we really want to focus on with the taskbar is just the fact that we can navigate like this through different programs, as well as being able to search and having the start button. The Windows start button, again, acts just like the search bar in the fact that it's a little menu that lets us navigate through all the programs we have in the computer, as well as some apps or Windows apps that we can acquire through the Microsoft Store. The difference between an app and a normal software is usually you'll find that you'll have to download the software yourself, whereas with the Microsoft Store, it works kind of like an app store for your phone. So before moving on to the file structure, let's quickly review. We have our desktop for quick access to things for when we boot up our computer, and the taskbar for navigating, for quick navigation through the different programs we're running. Now, to move on to the tricky part about navigating Windows is the file structure and or just the general structure of how things are placed inside of Windows. To begin, we'll actually first refer to the taskbar again in order to look for this little icon here called our File Explorer. Our File Explorer will allow for us to look at essentially everything that's in our computer, which can essentially be broken down into what we have on our desktop, what we have in our downloads, our documents, our pictures, our music, our videos, and then we can actually look at everything inside of the computer. And here you see my aptly named drives. Alongside that, we can actually go ahead and create folders inside of here, and that will actually lead me on to actually using the files, the file structure through a powerful tool called right-click. Now, imagine if in real life, when you looked at something, you could pick it up, and in doing so, you could look at the properties of it. You could choose to make a duplicate of that item, or you could simply get rid of it. I guess throwing it would do the same thing, but in the case of the computer world, either something exists, or it doesn't, and or it can be copied. It's simply a bunch of ones and zeros. And what we can do with the power of right-click is manage all these files we have. So usually on a fresh version of Windows, you wouldn't run into a lot of these things here. What really matters is your power to cut copy, delete, and look at the properties of a file. With this, though you won't necessarily always need to look at the properties, you can do things like change names and really find out what you can do with a file. And if you have trouble with navigating Windows, all you really need to know is that navigating Windows is the most close to the idea of following the trunk of a tree up to the branch to find a fruit. Eventually, once you go down a path of a bunch of different files, you'll eventually run into what you're looking for. And if you can't exactly find it, our search bar will be our best friend. So, moving into the folder analogy, let's go ahead and create a couple of folders. And we'll call this folder 1. And really, our folders will be our primary method for creating these digital spaces that we'll use to organize things. You can kind of, instead of a tree, actually think of it as an onion with shells. Eventually, what you want to do is build out a file structure that, again, going back to the branch example, works as paths of classifying things. So if I had pictures, I would say I would want pictures for my family. So I'll place family pictures. Or if I have different pictures, I would create a folder for, in this case, friend photos. And just like that, with the power of a right click and or just moving and dragging, we can have a operating system that we can utilize for creating programs using software. Whatever we really need to use the computer for, what really matters is us having the ability to get to that software through the means of either the desktop or the search bar or even the Windows tile. With this, we have access to the powerful tools that let us do whatever needs to be done. So we understand how to navigate through this file system that Windows provides us. So I'll go ahead and navigate over to my friend's photo file again. But what we really need to understand is the fact that with any file in any location, almost any file in any location, is our ability to not only move, delete, and copy things, but also do it in an even quicker way. I'll go ahead and actually introduce a couple of keyboard shortcuts to make a lot of these processes easier and make you somewhat of a master at Windows. I'll go ahead and only name the 3 most vital ones, being I click on my friend's photos because maybe we had some beef and had to break things off, and with a simple delete key, it's gone. What if I want to copy it? Control C, Control V. Those 3 keys will probably be the most useful in actually using Windows. With Control C, you can go ahead and copy whatever you need to make copies of. With Control V, you can go ahead and paste it wherever you need it to be. With delete, you can get rid of it, and it saves you having to do 2 things and cutting it down to 1, which could make navigating the computer a lot faster, or organizing whatever you needed to have organized. So far, that was a pretty basic and standard overview of how Windows works and simple use and navigation. In next week's episode, we'll focus on Mac OS, the alternative to Windows that runs on Mac devices. I hope you'll join then.